The rain hammered against the windshield as Marcus Chen gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white with tension. In the passenger seat, his boss, the woman who'd criticized his every move for 3 years, slumped against the window, mascara streaking her cheeks like war paint washing away. He should have walked away, should have called her a cab. But something in her broken expression reminded him of the night he'd found his own rock bottom, and he knew he couldn't leave her there alone. Marcus had never imagined his Tuesday would end like this. The accounting firm's annual gala was supposed to be a tedious obligation. Smile, network. Leave early to relieve Mrs. Patterson, his babysitter. Instead, he found himself at 11 p.m., coaxing his intoxicated boss into his 12-year-old Honda Civic while curious colleagues whispered behind champagne flutes. Victoria Ashford wasn't just any boss. She was the Victoria Ashford, youngest senior partner at Brennan & Associates, Forbes 30 under 40, and the woman who'd once told Marcus his spreadsheet looked like it had been assembled by a caffeinated squirrel for 3 years. She'd been ice personified, all sharp suits and sharper critiques. "I don't need your help," Victoria slurred as Marcus buckled her seatbelt. "I'm perfectly fine." "Of course you are, Ms. Ashford," he replied gently, ignoring the wine stains spreading across her designer dress. "Just let me make sure you get home safely." The drive through Chicago's rain-soaked streets was tense and quiet except for the rhythmic squeak of windshield wipers. Marcus kept glancing at his phone, checking messages from Mrs. Patterson about his 7-year-old daughter, Emma. She'd had another nightmare. About her mother. About the accident that had taken Sarah 3 years ago, leaving Marcus to navigate single fatherhood while working 60-hour weeks. "Why are you doing this?" Victoria's voice cut through the silence, suddenly clearer than before. Marcus kept his eyes on the road. "Doing what?" "This, helping me." "You should hate me," she laughed bitterly. "Everyone else does." He'd seen glimpses of this before. The cracks in Victoria's armor during late nights at the office when she thought no one was watching. The way her hands shook sometimes when opening emails. The photographs on her desk she'd quickly flip face down when anyone approached. "I don't hate you," Marcus said simply. Victoria turned to look at him, her carefully constructed facade crumbling. "I've been horrible to you. That presentation last month, I tore it apart in front of everyone. You had good ideas and I just demolished them," Marcus remembered. He'd spent 2 weeks on that presentation, staying up after Emma went to sleep, surviving on coffee and determination. Victoria's public criticism had stung, but he'd needed the job too much to complain. "You push everyone hard," he offered diplomatically. "I'm a terrible person," Victoria's voice broke. "My fiancé left me tonight at the gala. Said I care more about my career than anything real. And he's right. Look at me, 34 years old, and I have nothing. No friends, no family who will speak to me. Just an office and a reputation." Marcus pulled up to the address she'd mumbled earlier, a stunning high-rise overlooking Lake Michigan, the kind of place Marcus could never afford, where his annual salary might cover a month's rent. "Ms. Ashford, it's Victoria," she whispered.
"Can you—"
"Would you mind walking me up? I don't trust myself with the elevator buttons right now." Against his better judgment, Marcus agreed. He texted Mrs. Patterson he'd be another 30 minutes, promising double her usual rate. Emma's nightmare money, he thought with a pang of guilt. But he couldn't leave Victoria like this. Her apartment was pristine and empty, expensive furniture that looked barely used, art that seemed chosen by a decorator rather than a person who loved it. No photographs, no warmth, just expensive emptiness. "I'll get you some water," Marcus said, moving toward the kitchen. "Wait!" Victoria grabbed his arm, her grip desperate. "Can I tell you something? Something I've never told anyone at the office?" Marcus hesitated, then nodded. "I had a daughter once." Victoria's voice was barely a whisper. "Lily. She would have been 8 now. There was an accident, a drunk driver when she was 2. My husband David was driving. He survived. Lily didn't. We couldn't survive losing her together, so we lost each other too." Marcus felt his breath catch. Emma's age. "Victoria, I'm so sorry. I threw myself into work after that. Became this machine, because if I stopped, if I slowed down for even a second, I'd have to feel it. All of it. And I knew that would destroy me." Tears streamed down her face. But tonight, watching you check your phone, texting your babysitter about your daughter, I saw what I've become, what I've lost. Not just my family, but my humanity. Marcus thought about his own journey through grief. Those dark months after Sarah's death, when Emma's existence was the only thing that kept him moving forward. After my wife died, he said quietly, I wanted to become numb too. But my daughter needed me to be present, to be human. Some days that meant crying in the shower. Some days it meant laughing at her terrible knock-knock jokes, even when I felt hollow inside. But staying human, staying vulnerable, that's the only way through the grief. Not around it. Victoria looked at him with something like wonder. How do you do it? Work those hours and still be a good father? I'm not sure I'm doing either particularly well, Marcus admitted with a sad smile. I'm always choosing. Every late night at the office is a missed bedtime story. Every school event is a crisis I'm not handling at work. You actually make it harder sometimes. The impossible deadlines, the public criticisms. I can't afford to lose this job, so I swallow it. But it costs me time with Emma, time I can never get back. Victoria's face crumpled. Oh, God, Marcus, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. You never asked, he said gently without accusation. Nobody does. Single fathers are supposed to be invisible, just handling it all without complaint. They sat in silence for a long moment, two broken people finding unexpected common ground in a sterile apartment overlooking a city that never slept. Finally, Marcus stood. I should go. Emma had a nightmare earlier, and I promised I'd check on her when I got home. Will you be okay? Victoria nodded, looking more human than he'd ever seen her. Thank you, Marcus, for everything. For not leaving me there, for seeing me as a person, even when I haven't deserved it. Marcus left, exhausted and emotionally drained. Arriving home just after midnight, Mrs. Patterson reported Emma had fallen back asleep. He crept into his daughter's room, watching her peaceful face in the moonlight, grateful beyond words for her existence. The next morning, Marcus arrived at the office expecting nothing to have changed. People rarely remembered what they said when drunk. And even if Victoria did, workplace dynamics didn't shift overnight. But there was an envelope on his desk, Victoria's precise handwriting on the front. Inside was a handwritten letter, 2 full pages. Marcus, it began, I remember everything from last night, and I owe you an apology that goes far beyond one evening. I've been a terrible boss and a worse human being. Your presentation last month was brilliant. Your work has always been brilliant. I've been tearing you down because somewhere in my broken mind, I thought making others smaller would make my pain more bearable. It doesn't. It just creates more pain. Effective immediately. I'm recommending you for promotion to senior analyst with a 30% raise and flexible hours. This isn't charity. It's recognition of value I should have acknowledged years ago. I'm also entering therapy, something I should have done when Lily died. And I'm instituting new office policies about work-life balance because no one should have to choose between their career and their children the way I forced you to. You showed me kindness I didn't deserve. You reminded me that humanity isn't weakness. It's the only thing that matters. Thank you for driving me home. Thank you for being honest with me. Thank you for being the person I'd forgotten how to be. I can't undo 3 years of poor leadership, but I can try to be better from this day forward. Not just as your boss, but as a human being. You saved more than my life last night. You reminded me I still have one worth living. Marcus read the letter 3 times, tears blurring his vision. That afternoon, Victoria called an office-wide meeting where she apologized for her leadership style and announced new policies, supporting parents and caregivers. The changes weren't perfect, but they were real. 6 months later, Marcus left work at 5 o'clock for Emma's school play. No longer terrified of judgment. Victoria was in the audience too, tentatively rebuilding a life outside the office. They weren't friends exactly, but they'd found something rarer, mutual respect born from shared pain and unexpected grace. Sometimes, Marcus thought, kindness isn't about grand gestures. It's about seeing someone's humanity when they've forgotten it themselves. It's about driving your drunk boss home in the rain, not because you'll get something from it, but because we're all drowning sometimes, and the only way any of us survive is by pulling each other to shore.